Hello, Durud and Shalom. Hi, everyone. I see the chat is busy already. It's very busy. Wow. Guys, make sure you like the stream. Thank you for being here and like the stream so that more people end up seeing the stream. Every like will get the YouTube algorithm to bring in more people. This show today is very important because there's a huge misunderstanding among many foreigners. This is something that a lot of Iranians know and a lot of non-Iranians don't know. And this is very dangerous. The lack of knowledge regarding what I'm going to be telling you today is very important for the future of the Middle East, for the sake of Iran, for the sake of Israel, for the sake of the whole world. Because we're getting closer and closer to the fall of the Islamic Republic. And the Islamic Republic has only one trick up its sleeve, the one remaining one for survival, is for it to pretend that it has been toppled, but instead have just changed appearance. Basically, same shit, different pile, or basically just changing its mask instead of an actual change of the regime or change of the ideology that governs over Iran. And the regime, there are people within the regime that have realized that their days are numbered, and they're trying to figure out a way to change the appearance of the Islamic Republic so that they could keep the core of the Islamic Republic alive. And a lot of Iranian people are familiar with this, but a lot of foreigners are not, and they need to be. And this is not going to be discussed the way I will tell you in other places in English. Like, Iranians constantly are talking about this, but I don't see on English speaking media people talking about it. So it's very important that I educate you guys about this so that you don't get fooled like many other people. How's my audio? Is everything working? Wait a second. I see we got a super chat. Everything is good. You guys have my, was it 4K? Well, okay. So thank you. We got a Ma. Thank you so much for the super chat. Very grateful, guys. Can you please let me know in the chat that my audio is good and everything is working properly, because it's not showing up on my phone. You guys are okay, right? Let me see. What we got a super chat in Persian. Thank you so much for the generous donation, saying بیتا شفیعی همون دختر شجاعی که تو تجمع شاهین شهر گاز اشک‌آور به خود ماموران رو برگردون، همون روز بازداشت شد و با قید و وثیقه بعد چند روز آزاد شد. حکمش اومده و فردا دادگاه داره. انگشتاشو شکستن. داستان بهش گفته که حکم سنگینی بهتون. Okay, I need to verify this. They're saying that the super chat says that they have arrested Bita Shafi'i, the girl that I talked to you guys yesterday about. I need to go and look at this up. Thank you for letting me know. I'm gonna go fact check this after the show, and maybe we have to talk about this more on this channel regarding Bita. That's horrible news if it's true. Okay, audio is blasting. I don't know why my phone is not working. I'm just gonna restart my phone. I don't know why my phone is not working, but it's fine. Audio is good. That's horrible. Guys, I don't know if this news is true. I am gonna go check. Somebody's saying that they arrested her and they did some horrible things to her. I don't know. I haven't verified this myself, but I'm now have a huge motivation to go check it out. Okay, so if it's true, thank you so much for letting me know. You're saying what happened to Beta. I have to go. I'm gonna have to go check this myself. I don't know. I have to double check. I haven't seen this myself. I just saw it here in the super chat, so I haven't verified it. So I'm not going to report it as if it's true. But if it's true, I will definitely be covering this. Okay. Well, that's stressful. Now I don't know. Okay, let's get back to topic. Okay, I'm gonna go check that after the show. All right. Anyways, need to talk about the fake opposition, guys. This is important. If you want less betas to suffer, less people like Beta to suffer, we need to get rid of the Islamic Republic, and we need to get rid of all of Islamic Republic, not the current version of Islamic Republic. This is the key concept that we have to understand. We have the current version of the Islamic Republic. In Iran, we call it the Second Republic. The Second Republic. Why do we call it the Second Republic? I mean, it's a horrible name because none of these are actual republics. But the First Republic is the Islamic Republic under Khamenei, the first supreme leader of the Islamic Republic, the founder and the first supreme leader of the Islamic Republic. So his reign is called the First Republic. The Second Republic is Khamenei's Islamic Republic, right? And what we Barandos people in Iran are worried about, the Barandos is what you, when you refer to people who want the regime to the Islamic Republic to fall, in Iran we call them Barandos. And we Barandos people, what we want the regime to completely be toppled. We don't want another version of the Islamic Republic. And we're warning people that there's an attempt for the Third Republic of the Islamic Republic without Khamenei. So let me explain this to you guys. Please pay attention. This is very important for everybody to understand, okay? Within the Islamic Republic, we have people who are more ideological and less pragmatic, and still ideological, and then the second group of people who are less ideological, still ideological, of course, because it's the Islamic Republic, but more pragmatic. Okay, so we have group A, who says F pragmatism. We'll die if we have to for this regime. We will give our blood and our life and everything to make sure that this country is given to the Mahdi. When the Mahdi, at the end of times, when the Mahdi comes, this country will be given to him, and nothing is more important than making sure that this country is Islamic and is prepared for the Mahdi to come. These are the more ideological people. And then the group B, they're still ideological, they're very religious, they're anti-Israel, anti-freedom, anti-woman, anti-everything good in the world. But they're a little bit more, they're smarter and they're more pragmatic, right? So today, at the situation that we have in Iran, Group A is working in our favor. The more radical ideological part of the Islamic Republic is basically their activities is helping us get closer to the toppling of the regime, meaning that they're refusing to surrender. They're pushing for no negotiations. They want revenge. They want the Islamic Republic to keep fighting. They want no change in the laws. They want even harsher laws on the Iranian people. And they have this delusion of being powerful. They think that they can destroy Israel any day now if nobody stands in their way. And this group, we want them to keep doing what they're doing right now, because the Islamic Republic is at the edge of a cliff, and these people are basically they're pushing it over without realizing. And they're unknowingly working in our team. They're helping us, because if the Islamic Republic wanted to survive, there's a lot of things that it could do, but it can't because of the pressure of these ideological people on it. Okay, the regime doesn't want these people to turn against it. However, there's a second group of people within the Islamic Republic who have realized that everything is about to fall apart. We have a second attack of Israel coming. We have the snapback mechanism being activated by Germany, France, and UK. And we have we have the water crisis and the electricity crisis in Iran. And on top of that, we're going to see prices skyrocket pretty soon, more than it has. And the Islamic Republic knows that another uprising is bound to happen at some point, right? And a big one, especially with all these crises that is happening right now. And this Islamic Republic is about to fall. So they have the correct strategic response. And this is what they're trying to do, to save the Islamic Republic and save themselves by using the fake opposition that they have developed all over these years, the fake Barandos people. I mean, they're not even Barandos, the fake opposition that they have developed all over these years, to offer to the world and to the Iranian people, and the Iranian people are smarter than that, but the world is less informed, to the world as, how about this instead? How about you take this as replacement for Khamenei and you just let us stay because we got rid of Khamenei and we have this. And this is why thank you, Jack. I see your super chat. I will respond to it. Yeah, guys, super chats are a really good way to support the channel. And if you do super chats, I will respond to them during the chat. This is why what you as non-Iranians must understand is that opposition to Khamenei is not opposition to the Islamic Republic. And sometimes opposition to Islamic Republic, what it actually means is opposition to this current version of Islamic Republic. It's not an opposition to the Islamic Republic as a whole. It's an opposition to the current version. So some people who you get introduced online and by Western media and on social media as people who are fighting against Khamenei, they're not anti-Khamenei. They're not anti-Islamic Republic. They are just a different version of the Islamic Republic. In fact, the reason why they're anti-Khamenei is for the sake of saving the Islamic Republic. Let me repeat that. There are some Iranian opposition that is anti-Khamenei for the sake of saving the Islamic Republic. Meaning that they think that Khamenei is responsible for the Islamic Republic being in the situation that it is right now, being so close to collapsing, and they think that if they could get rid of him, they could save the Islamic Republic. And then some foreigners see these people and they think that because they're against Khamenei, or because they're coming out and saying that we're against the Islamic Republic, without actually clarifying that we're against this Islamic Republic, not Islamic Republic as a whole, that they are part of the opposition, part of the Iranian opposition that needs to be supported. They are not, and I will introduce them to you on this show so that you know them and you become wiser than most people who are analyzing the situation right now in Iran. This is a very key information that you guys need to have, because knowing this is the difference between the potential survival of the Islamic Republic and its complete fall. Again, the Islamic Republic doesn't have much more tricks to play for it to survive. There's not much, there's no more strategies left. This is it. This is the main thing that it has. So, and you are, by not knowing this, you are being used by the Islamic Republic. So a lot of you who hate Islamic Republic, if you go, for example, support Nargis Mohammadi against the Islamic Republic, you don't understand that Nargis Mohammadi has been made by the Islamic Republic for this purpose, and you unknowingly are supporting the Islamic Republic's person for it to be able to transition to another version of the Islamic Republic, to the Third Republic. And you, as somebody who hates the Islamic Republic, is now being used by the Islamic Republic. It's very important that you guys understand this. And I will give you the list of the people so that you could actually become a better activist, a better soldier against the forces of evil in the Middle East and in the world. And guys, nobody is on English media is explaining this the way I will be explaining it to you in this stream. So please spread this around so that more people become aware of what's happening in Iran. Let me see. We got some super chats. Jack, thank you so much. Jack is saying, when is regime change good? Should we push for full regime change in Islamic communist states, Saudi, Maldives, Mauritania, China, Cuba, Vietnam, like in Iran? No, that's not what a regime change is good when people want regime change. Okay, that's a very simple answer. When the people in a country want regime change and the regime itself is not responsive to the will of the people, and the demands for regime change by the people is so high, that's when we should have regime change. Okay, so Crypto, thank you, Crypto, for the super chat saying, why were many nations able to overthrow their governments during the Arab Spring, but Iranians can't despite Israel's support? Despite Israel's support, first of all, you know the 12-day war was just less than a month ago. So the unity between the nationalists, first of all, the Iranian people before what's Navabi Shish? That's like before, until 8 years ago, they were more focusing on fixing the regime, reforming the regime, than toppling the regime. It's only been 8 years since we see a much more bigger focus by the Iranian people on toppling the regime rather than reforming the regime. Okay, so it's already about 8 years or so, right? So 8 years is a short time. And also the Arab Spring hasn't been as successful as you make it seem. That the Arab Spring unfortunately hasn't been that successful, but in fact the success of the Arab Spring will be felt maybe years from now, not right now. These things take a while until you see this, like the positive results from it. Like, I mean, look at the French Revolution for now. Like, look, this is such an unfair way of looking at things. Look at the French Revolution. How long did it last? How long did it take for it to actually show some positive results? You actually need to wait for these things, right? Also, 8 years is a short time. Also, Israel's support for the nationalist, patriotic Iranians against the Islamic Republic has only grown recently, because even among the opposition, many of the opposition were the ones that were armed or organized were not the nationalists. It was the MEK or the separatists that were organized, or maybe the separatists that were armed. So Israel didn't see much of a strong alternative among Iranian patriots. But now, when the Iranian patriots, with the leadership of Reza Pahlavi, is strong enough that Israel is now supporting them more than other people. So this is, and also the 12-day war just happened. So I don't understand what you guys expecting. Like, you guys, if you maybe anybody who studies a little bit of history can see that these things take a bit of time. And in fact, if you're looking at what's happening in Iran, things are happening a lot faster than what many people expected. So it's only a lack of awareness of how other movements, how changes take in history, how much time other changes have taken in history. Only with that ignorance would you come to the conclusion that things in Iran are happening slow. Because anybody who is more aware of historical trends, when they look at Iran, they actually see that things in Iran are happening much faster than what you usually see in history, right? So if you think this is happening too slow, you are not really, I don't know what your point of reference is, unless you have one example. This is actually relatively really fast what's happening in Iran. Right. So you guys are, I mean, it makes sense to be in such a hurry, but things take time. Okay, that's your answer. Anyways, let me go through the examples that I need to make, bring you guys. I have some pictures. Let me actually go. There's my list. I need to introduce you guys to every single one of this. Okay, so first let me go through the list of the people that I want to mention. Okay, and then I would do one case study, which is one of the most important people, which is Nargis Mohammadi. Okay, first we have the reformist, which is people like Mousavi, Pezeshkian, Zarif, Arakchi, Tajzadeh, and other people like that. And I will show you the pictures and I'll explain to you who they are. Then we have the Islamic Republic's lobby in the United States, which is NIAC. I think a lot of you guys know about this. Then we have the communist Marxists, the leftist communist Marxists. Then we have the MEK or MKO, but MEK, just let's remember the MEK. The MEK. And then we have Nargis Mohammadi, which I will go over her at the end. Okay, but let's focus on their reformists. And let me actually show you some of their faces so that you guys become experts at recognizing who you should not be trusting. Okay, so let me see. I have him. I get the picture of the 4 most important people that you need to recognize within. Oh, I got this guy twice. Go down. Go. 4 most important people today. I mean, there are other people. Image. No, maybe 5. Musavi as well. Yes. Musavi is actually the most important one, actually. Yeah. Okay. So the most important person within the reformers that some people are trying to sell you as the opposition is this guy, Mir Hossein Musavi. Okay. So Mir Hossein Musavi, especially recently, he has become more, I mean, he was very well known, but now he's back. And because he has this letter asking for a referendum against Khamenei, and many people are now hopeful that he's the opposition. He's the opposition that we were waiting for from inside Iran, because he's a key figure from the Islamic Republic itself that is now asking for Khamenei to step down and for Iranian people to have a referendum and basically change the regime, right? This is the most important person that is being sold to people worldwide as an alternative to Reza Pahlavi. And you should be, here's why you cannot trust him. Okay. First of all, he never takes a position against the Islamic Republic. He takes a position against Khamenei. He has repeatedly said, and he hasn't taken this back, that the golden age of Iran was when Khomeini was in power. Right? So his opposition is against Khamenei. His opposition is not against Khomeini. He still loves the Islamic Republic. He still loves the 1979 Islamic Revolution. He just has a problem with Khamenei. And the referendum that he's asking for is a referendum within the framework of the Islamic Republic. It's an ask to the Islamic Republic, like instead of destroying the Islamic Republic and having a referendum after the Islamic Republic is gone, it's basically getting the Islamic Republic itself to put on a referendum. That is the exact way how the regime will change skin without actually changing its core, by having a referendum that is controlled and operated under the conditions of the Islamic Republic, just to signal to the world that I have changed, without and getting rid of Khamenei, basically putting Khamenei as an offering to the world, basically sacrificing Khamenei so that we could keep the rest of the Islamic Republic alive. And Musavi is right now, he's under house arrest by Khamenei, and that actually gives him more credibility. And many people from the Islamic Republic are now going into his house and meeting him, because he's basically their best tool, one of their best weapons right now, to try to suggest to the world that, okay, Khamenei is gone, we did the change, and this guy is our leader, right? So be mindful, because it's very easy for you to mistake him as somebody against the Islamic Republic, given that he's so aggressively anti-Khamenei and he wants a referendum. That might fool you to think like, oh, okay, that's good. That's somebody we need to support. He's against Khamenei, right? Yeah, he's against Khamenei, but he's in love with Khomeini. He's in love with Khomeini. And he's not against the Islamic Republic as a whole. He's just against the Second Republic. He's against Khamenei's Islamic Republic. Guys, I hope you appreciate the level of nuance that we're going over here. There's nowhere else that is going with explaining this in English in this much detail regarding the internal politics of Iran. I need you guys to understand this and tell other people as well. Other people from the reformers that you need to know is Araghchi, the current foreign minister, Pezeshkian. I don't even know if I should call him a reformer, because he has been the most loyal person to Khamenei, but whatever. I mean, they call him a reformer, but honestly, he shouldn't even be called that, because he's not nobody has been such a loyal puppet of Khamenei more than him. But I don't know, but people call him a reformer. This guy is dangerous. Tajzadeh, be mindful of him. He's anti-Khamenei, but he's not for the toppling of the regime. He's not anti-Islamic Republic. This guy, Rouhani, anti-Khamenei, but he's anti-Khamenei again because he wants to save the Islamic Republic. He's a former president. And then we have Zarif. You guys know Zarif. Used to be a foreign minister. And he's very good at diplomacy. And he's a snake. You need to be careful with it. Again, these are the people who are smarter, less ideological and smarter. And you need to be really careful with them. Remember, the things that all of these people share is that they hate Israel, they hate Pahlavi, they're anti-West. All of these are basically the main characteristics of Islamic Republic. All of these people believe in, when it comes to their economy, they have a command. They believe in command economy. They believe in an isolationist version of running the economy to some extent. Some of them are basically, when it comes to the economy, they're very left-leaning. When it comes to, they're anti-Western imperialism, anti-Israel, anti-Pahlavi, and these are the things that you need to, anti-liberal values, but they're just anti-Khamenei as well. But just because they're anti-Khamenei doesn't mean that you could trust them. Here's the thing, that you could always do a Pahlavi check, right? Anytime if you want to see who's real opposition, just ask their opinions about Israel and Reza Pahlavi, because that will tell you everything you need to know. That's how you could tell. It's do an Israel check and a Pahlavi check, and that will usually you get the set. Usually, one of them would be enough for you to know whether they're actual barandos or they're just trying to bring about a different version of the Islamic Republic, right? And then we have NIAC. I think a lot of you already know NIAC is a lobby for the Islamic Republic, but it's they try to hide their association, but everybody knows that they're a lobby of the Islamic Republic. Their positions are they're trying to stop the sanctions. They're trying to stop the pressure on the regime. Their vocabulary is very leftist, anti-imperialist West, anti-Israel, anti-Western powers, anti-Pahlavi. They always push the idea that Israel and the US are the real enemy, the real evil in the world. I mean, they sometimes criticize the Islamic Republic, but they follow up, and they introduce as the Western powers, especially US and Israel, as the real evils of the world. So they try to sometimes pretend that they're not in agreement with the Islamic Republic, but then they come and try to basically, in the United States, they act as a lobby, trying to push for the things that saves the Islamic Republic. And right now, I think NIAC is also anti-Khamenei. They're trying to get the reformers in power in the Islamic Republic, right? So they probably are anti-Khamenei, but that doesn't mean they're anti-Islamic Republic. Then we have a lot of communists and Marxists who are also anti the Islamic Republic. Again, remember, these people are the communists and Marxists are people responsible for the 1979 Islamic Revolution even happening. And a lot of their ideas are still the same. What they want is a government that is anti-US, anti-Israel, anti-liberal democracy, anti-capitalism. They want a command economy. They're isolationist. And many of them, a lot of them actually consider the 1979 Islamic Revolution to a good thing that happened. Like they think that it was a revolution that was on the right track until maybe Khamenei came and ruined it. So it's very interesting, right? So you have to see at what point they got off the train, right? So if you look at the reformers, so we have three levels. We have the 1979 Islamic Revolution, Khamenei's time, right? So the reformers, they don't like Khamenei, but they agree with the 1979 Islamic Revolution, and they agree with Khomeini. They just don't like Khamenei, right? And the fact that they agree with the 1979 Islamic Revolution, Khomeini, shows that they are not the opposition that you need to be supporting. And then we have the Marxists. The Marxists, a lot of them disagree with Khamenei. They don't like Khamenei, and they don't like Khomeini, but they still agree with the 1979 Islamic Revolution because they see it as a movement against Western imperialism and I don't know the capitalist powers, bourgeoisie, and all of that bullshit that they believe in. Yeah, I will get to the MEK. Okay, Seymour just gave us a super chat. Seymour said MEK is made of old fossils and no one wants them. Yes, I will get to the. It's true in Iran they have close to zero support. However, Seymour, they are very good at social media, and they are fooling some people to believe in them. I will get to the MEK as well. They have Saudi money. They have Saddam money and Saudi money. I'll get to them as well, and that's why they spend it a lot on marketing, and they get to fool some people. All right, actually, the MEK is next. Let me actually do the MEK. Let me upload her picture. Here's the leader. And guys, you have to be careful with the MEK because some of you might be fooled that they are proper opposition, because as you can see, they use the lion and sun flag as well. So just like the people who support Reza Pahlavi, they also have, I mean, their version of lion and sun is a bit different, but a lot of you might think like, oh, they have a lion and sun flag. So, okay, so that's their they are anti-Islamic Republic, but these are the worst. These are the worst. Everybody hates them. And this is the leader of the MEK, Mariam Rajavi. It helps that she's wearing hijab because that is very unpopular these days in Iran, and also, because they are so the MEK is an Islamist Marxist organization, right? So if you had communism and Islam making love with each other and having a baby, the MEK will come out of that. Okay, that's what they are. So the worst two ideologies in the world had a baby, and the MEK came out of it. Okay, so imagine what disaster that is. Okay, and so Mariam Rajavi and his people, again, it's an actual insane cult. Like if I could do videos of what they do in their compound, and you would be shocked. And I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that the MEK is worse than the Islamic Republic. So given they have close to zero support among Iranian people. However, they have money. The reason why they have money is because Saddam was supporting them for a long time. And then I think there's suspicions that after Saddam, Saudi Arabia was supporting them as leverage against the Islamic Republic for some time. And also Israel was working with Israel was also working with them for some time. I mean, to be fair, they were the most organized, even though they have no popular support among Iranians. They were the most organized because of all the money they had. But now, so it made sense for why you would use them against the Islamic Republic. Okay, they are completely cuckoo, by the way. Like they're not just evil, they're retarded. Like it's an actual cult. It's a cult. Like they behave like a cult. Once you go and watch some documentaries regarding, you will, it's crazy. It's basically insane. They're cuckoo. Let me see. Okay, so that's the MEK. They fought alongside Saddam Hussein against Iranian people. And again, remember, it's true that Iran at that time was under the Islamic Republic, but many Iranians who were fighting against Saddam in the front lines, many of them were not fighting for the Islamic Republic. Many of them were fighting to defend the border integrity of Iran. They were defending Iran's borders. And the MEK at that time joined Saddam to fight those Iranian people. And that's one thing that the MEK has done that the Iranian people have never forgiven the MEK for. And they also still continue to have their Islamic Marxist roots. Like within their organization, no woman is allowed to be without a hijab. So yeah, that's not what we want. And they have basically close to zero support in Iran. So just remember that. Just remember, sometimes when you see them, you because they have the lion and sword, the lion and sun flag, you might confuse them. So be careful with that. So the key things that you need to understand before I go to Nargis Mohammadi, because she's her own special case I need to talk about. Let me actually see. We got a super chat. Let me respond to this. Guys, this is like class in session. You guys are being educated. This is like an academic course on the fake opposition in Iran. Okay, look, this is so Crypto give us a super chat saying for Israel and lasting Middle East stability, the best option is creating a large Kurdish state, as they like Jews as the most hated, as they like Jews are the most hated and secular. Okay, so Crypto is missing when he says secular. He's missing an important part of secular. You know why are they secular? First of all, when you're talking about Kurds, the Kurdish state. First of all, most Kurds in Iran do not want a Kurdish state. Most Kurds in Iran, the vast majority of the Kurds in Iran are Iranian first, Kurd second. They want most Kurdish people in Iran are patriots, and they would give their lives to defend the border integrity of their country. So first one, I want to make sure that everything I'm saying is not against the Kurdish people. I'm just talking about the Kurdish separatists, right? Does anybody know in the chat why are they secular? Among the Kurdish separatists, when people say they're secular, why are they secular? Anybody knows? People keep saying the secular part, but they're omitting an important part of why they're secular. Anybody knows in the chat? Nobody? I want to see if people know what I'm talking about. Okay. Yes, thank you, Seymour. Seymour is saying they're secular because they're Marxist. Okay? They're secular because they're commies. That's why they're secular. So, exactly. So when people are trying to sell you the idea of, supporting the court, again, not supporting the Kurds, because I support the Kurds. I want to support the Kurds by giving them the Iranian Kurds and a government that they will have equal rights with everybody else in the country as equal citizens. So I do support the Kurd. I'm talking against the Kurdish separatists, not against the Kurds, right? So the Kurdish separatists, when people say they're secular, they on purpose omit the part that they're secular because they're commies. They're a bunch of leftist communists, and that's why they're secular. And again, these secular people, it was these secular communists that brought to us the Islamic Republic. So just remember that when people say secular, secular doesn't necessarily mean good. You know who else was secular? Saddam was secular. Saddam was secular. You know who else was secular compared to Hamas? The PLO was secular. Yasser Arafat was secular. I mean, we have so many. Before we had Hamas, the main enemies of Israel were secular leftists in the Middle East. So secular doesn't always mean good. Also, these so-called secular Kurdish separatists, they are forcing their way upon the people there. They refuse to hold elections in the parts of, for example, Syria that they control. They are extremely abusive to their own women. Just go look at the rape cases among them. And you say they like the Jews. Well, they're going to be horrible for the Jews. If you create a Kurdish state, you are going to cause so much instability in the Middle East, carving out of 4 countries, 4 officially recognized countries, 4 countries that their borders have been officially recognized by the United Nations. You want to violate the recognized borders by 4 countries. Do you understand how insane that is? We're talking Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran. And most importantly, the Iran part, because the Iranian people are the greatest supporters of Israelis. And this betrayal of what the Iranian people care most about is going to lose you the most important, your most important asset, your most important friends, the most important country in the Middle East that could have been an ally of Israel. You're talking about 90 people for the sake of. So remember, if you're talking about a Kurdish state, don't count the number of Kurds, count the number of Kurdish separatists, and then realize how few that number is, and just realize that you're giving up on being an ally of 90 million people for the sake of something that will never happen. Like a Kurdish state, you're chasing a dream. If free Iran is about to happen, a Kurdish state will never happen. That's your delusion. Anybody who thinks that they're fighting for the Kurdish state, you're basically you're the same as the axis of resistance who was using the blood of the people in Gaza for a cause that will never be accomplished. You're like even the Kurdish separatists that you're encouraging, you're sending them to die fighting wars that are unwinnable. This will not happen. So yeah, it's the end, especially now that they have been disarmed. It's the end of that dream. So you could either deal with the world as it is, or you could just live in your la la land. So before I go to Nargis Mohammadi, let me actually make it very clear that the best way to recognize the fake opposition is, you could, some people say, just ask them if they're interested in removing the Islamic Republic completely. They're removing the Islamic Republic. That is not a good question, because they might say yes, but by yes, they won't tell you that they mean that the Khamenei version of Islamic Republic. They might still like Khomeini, and they still might like the 1979 Islamic Revolution. So the best way to recognize who's fake opposition and who's a real barandas is to ask them about Israel and Pahlavi. What is their opinion about Israel? What is their opinion about Pahlavi? And everyone everyone except the MEK. The MEK is a cult, so we don't need to actually check them. But if you ask the reformists, if you ask Pezeshkian, Tajzadeh, if you ask Musavi, if you ask Zarif, ask them about Pahlavi, and you could see that, and Israel, they're against both of them. Ask them the fake Marxist opposition to the Islamic Republic in Iran. Ask them what they think about Israel. They will condemn Israel as an evil state. So MEK, don't ask MEK any questions, because the MEK, they're shapeshifters. Okay, they're completely willing to change colors every time they need to. Okay, they are so much more flexible than other people and how they represent themselves to the world, except removing the hijab. But they are very, very religious. They're very Shia, and they're Marxists, and they're very, very anti-Pahlavi. So these are the things that they will not back down. If you ask them about Imam Hussein, they are very pro the Hussein cult. They are very anti-Pahlavi, extremely anti-Pahlavi. However, among all the fake opposition, they are the only one who might not be anti-Israel anymore. They used to be extremely anti-Israel, but they're not anti-Israel anymore, but they're still anti-Pahlavi. They're very pro-Islam, very pro-Shia, and they have some, beyond being Marxists and Islamists, they also have some additional weird beliefs that we don't have time to get to. The only real opposition, I mean, opposition might not be the right name to call it, because opposition is within the structure of a government. The main real revolutionaries against the Islamic Republic is Reza Pahlavi and his group, Nufti. So Nufti is the team surrounding Reza Pahlavi, but with his leadership, with Reza Pahlavi's leadership. That's the only real revolutionary group against the Islamic Republic. I see another super chat. I will respond to it now before we go to Nargis Mohammadi. Oh, okay. So I cannot, Carl, I cannot answer that because my family is in Iran. So I cannot answer questions regarding I cannot answer questions regarding my family because they're inside Iran. I hope you understand. Okay. I'm gonna skip. Carl, I hope you don't mind, but I'm gonna skip that question. Okay. Okay. So 100%. Okay, thank you. All right. Let me actually see. Let me bring the next person. I hope that I don't. I hope you don't think that was a waste of a super chat. Okay. Sorry about that. I can't answer that. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Let's go to the next person because this one, it's a woman and she doesn't wear the hijab anymore. She used to, she doesn't anymore. Okay. So you might be fooled by her. And she's one of the most dangerous ones when it comes to the potential of fooling Westerners. And here is her name is Narges Mohammadi. Narges Mohammadi. Okay. So she doesn't wear the hijab anymore. That's one thing that is working for her to sell her as proper opposition. She's in jail. So that's a by the Islamic Republic. So people see that as a point in her favor, right? She's anti-Khamenei. She constantly attacks the Islamic Republic. So people are like, "Oh my God, that's great. Then she's great." She constantly writes, articles or stuff against the Islamic Republic. She has interviews from her prison cell to celebrities like Angelina Jolie, for example, recently interviewed her from inside her prison cell. And the most important thing that she has that makes people take her seriously is that she got the Nobel Peace Prize. She got a Nobel Prize. Okay. So that's why among all of the ones that I told you, for foreigners, she's the most trickiest one because she is being used by the Islamic Republic as a way to push her as the opposition instead of so that Westerners focus on her instead of Reza Pahlavi. And just so you understand how crazy it is, like people like Fatima Saperi in Iran are also in prison, and she is pro Reza Pahlavi, and she has no access to anybody when she's in jail, including her own family. But Narges Mohammadi, who's in prison, the Islamic Republic allows her to have an interview with Angelina Jolie. Like, obviously, if she's in her prison and she's having an interview with Angelina Jolie, that could only happen if the Islamic Republic is allowing it, obviously. The Islamic Republic has had her in jail for a long time, working on her, introducing her to the world, using Islamic Republic is sometimes, takes actions against her, but at the same time uses its lobby groups in the West to try to push her as somebody against Islamic Republic. And she's going to be one person that we have to deal with if once the Islamic Republic is so close to collapse, because it's a very important chess piece by the Islamic Republic. Oh, by the way, I think she also endorsed Mir Hossein Mousavi's letter regarding the referendum. So the things that you need to understand about her is that she doesn't ask for ending the regime at all. If you actually look at all her statements, they're all about reforming the Islamic Republic, changing the Islamic Republic. She doesn't ask for the toppling of the Islamic Republic. She wants, for example, a referendum under UN supervision to maybe reform the system. That is basically the recipe, the only method for the Islamic Republic to survive. the Islamic Republic wants to use these if it feels like it's getting close to complete collapse, it will bring its own chosen opposition to provide a solution where Islamic Republic could, with certain changes, stay in power. If you look at her statements after October 7th, her letters suggest that the Islamic Republic and Israel are equally bad. In her public letters, she talks about ending the war. When she's talking about ending the war between Israel and the Islamic Republic, she makes it clear that both sides are the same. She's anti-Reza Pahlavi. Her entire family are anti-Reza Pahlavi. In fact, her family is tied to the MEK, constantly focusing on fixing the system instead of replacing it, which is basically the narrative that the Islamic Republic wants to sell. So, yeah, this is what you have to understand. Anytime you see an activist within Iran coming in and talking about improving the prison conditions, I don't know, allowing women to not wear the hijab, allowing people to do this, making the internet more free, you might think that these are good requests, but the Iranian people, when they hear that, they swear at that. That's not what we're asking for. A lot of foreigners might think like, oh, that's great. Somebody is working for better conditions in Iranian prisons. That's a good thing. We should support that. But if you ask Iranian people, anybody who suggests anything like that, they consider that person a traitor. Or anybody who's asking, oh, guys, we should make the Islamic Republic allow women to not wear the hijab. You think like, why would the Iranian people be against that? Shouldn't they be supporting that? No, because the Iranian people are against such asks and such demands because they think any ask like that is an attempt for the Islamic Republic to change color and stay in power. They're saying we're done. It's been 8 years for the past 8 years. The Iranian people are done asking the Islamic Republic for anything. The only thing that they want the Islamic Republic to do is die. They're not asking for more freedom. They're not asking for better conditions. They're not asking for more rights. They're only asking for the Islamic Republic to be gone because they're done. They're done asking. They're done trying. So any activist that is moving, that is trying to show to you that, look, I'm the opposition because I'm fighting for this cause or that right or that better condition for those people, they are part of the Islamic Republic. They're not against the Islamic Republic. They're part of the Islamic Republic. Seymour, I don't know. Okay, I guess Seymour just gave a super chat saying why everyone who hates Pahlavi looks like a horse. I mean, I don't criticize people the way people look. I mean, I've seen people who look really good and with horrible takes, and some people who look less good with really good takes. So I don't think that's a fair way of critique. But yeah, thanks for the super chat, but that's not my. Yeah. So, and also she has close connections to the worst people. All of the three corruptions, all of the three groups that we call them the enemies of the Iranian people. So in Iran, we have a chant, we say, Nang bar se fasid, mullah chapur mujahid. So we say, curse be upon three corruptions, mullah, leftists, and MEK. And when we say mullah, we're talking about the suit-wearing ones as well, which is the reformers. So the reformers are considered suit-wearing mullahs. Suit-wearing mullahs. So Nargis Mohammadi has really close connections to the reformers, which is the first of the three corruptions. Very close to the leftist. She is a leftist. She has leftist views. She's very leftist, in fact. And she is also, her family has been very close to the MEK. So she doesn't have a good record when it comes to her background. She comes from all the three groups that we in Iran consider the enemies of Iran and Iranians. So now I gave you all the information. Oh, we have the crypto. Crypto just gave us another super chat. Crypto is saying Kyle Klinsky called Gaza a Holocaust 2.0 in live 4K, demanding the arrest and trial of traveling IDF members in US. Military Kyle, military intervention against Israel. Mehdi Hassan likened it to Rwanda genocide. Well, okay, these people obviously have no idea what the word genocide means, and the Holocaust. What an insult! And they also, Kyle Klinsky doesn't understand how international law works either, apparently. So Kyle Klinsky, the Holocaust, really. So even if somebody was stupid enough to just compare numbers, to just use numbers, just use body count to realize to come up with the conclusion of what if Israel is at fault or not. I mean, even if you were just doing a surface level analysis, we're talking 60,000 in Gaza, maybe 60,000, and in the Holocaust, the number is 9 million. 9 million, guys, not 6 million like most people say. Okay, it was 6 million Jews. It was 9 million, okay, in total. Correct me if I'm wrong. So we have 9 million in the Holocaust, and then we have 60,000. And then you think that's comparable? Unbelievable. And also, the 60,000 is the lowest number of civilian to combatant ratio, the second lowest civilian to combatant ratio killed in urban warfare in history. So Israel had broken a record in managing to reduce civilian casualties in urban warfare. So the average, usually the rates in war for when it comes to civilian to combatant is 5-1 or 3-1, but in urban areas it's 9-1, and in Gaza Israel has achieved 1-1, which is crazy low for a place with such high population density, fighting an enemy that doesn't wear uniform and uses human shields. So if you look at it like that, this is actually, you can see that Israel is the most moral army in the world based on those metrics. The army that has done more than any other army ever to try to reduce civilian casualties. And Israel had broken a record in reducing civilian casualties in Gaza, but that record was broken by Israel in Iran, because in the 12-day war, when Israel attacked the Islamic Republic, again, the civilian to combatant ratio was even below 1-1, which is a new global record, because I think around 1,000 people died in Iran, and according to the government's own numbers, 280 of them were civilians. So that makes it a lower than 1-1 ratio of civilian to combatant, which shows that Israel has done unbelievably well when it comes to reducing civilian casualties. We got two more guys. After, I'm going to read some more super chats, and after this, we are going to go to my personal channel in about half an hour from now. Again, you guys could search for my personal channel. You can search for Armin Navabi. My personal channel will show up. My personal channel, we don't talk about politics or religion. Over there, we talk about, my own personal advice regarding how to use AI and technology to improve your life and how do I manage my life personally. I will just teach you how to become more productive, how to be more healthy. It's just a place where I share my thoughts regarding having a better life using technology, right? So in 30 minutes, I'm going to go live on the Armin Navabi channel. If you search for it on YouTube, it will show up. And the topic of this live stream is how I use AI to beat procrastination. So if you guys are lazy, or if you guys delay what you need to do, and you guys don't have enough energy to get the work needed that you need to do during the day, well, I got you. I got you. You guys could come to my live stream and I'll talk about what I do to overcome all of that. And guys, the advice is fantastic. I just already did it on my personal Persian channel and people loved it. So let me see. We got two more. Oh my God. We got the two more super chats. We got it from Diamond Encrusted Abdullah, which always is kind of crazy, kind of cuckoo. Diamond Encrusted Abdullah is telling us it's called the CIA, my dear boy. Israel worship Baal. Still don't know what any of this means. And then another super chat saying Baal is the god of Saturn. That's the star of David. Sure, buddy. Sure. Whatever you say. Whatever you say. Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you for everything. Thank you for all the super chats. Again, guys, this 1 hour live stream was the best. Okay. I'm not a very humble person. I'm honest. Okay. The past 1 hour was the best breakdown of the opposition, the fake opposition within Iran against the Islamic Republic, showing you that the only opposition that makes sense to support, I mean, not even opposition, that only the revolutionary force against the Islamic Republic that is worth supporting is the one around Reza Pahlavi. I went through every single one of them for you guys, and now you are more informed than 99.999% of people about this. Okay? So try to share this. First of all, thank me in the comment section for being so good at educating you guys regarding Middle Eastern issues. And also then try to do other people a favor by sending this live stream to them. And then like the stream. And if you're new, subscribe here, hit the bell notification, and leave a comment. Okay? And you're welcome. Okay. Oh, Nima is here too. Hi, Nima. Yeah, Stephanie saying thank you, Armin. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Oh, wow. I'm calling the Prof. All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow again. Same time, same place. Until then, I'm Israel Khai, Javid Shah. Mwah. See you guys. See you on the personal channel. Come on the Armin Navabi channel. Bye. Oh, you're welcome, guys. You're welcome.